we've been in this conversation before. Aliens.
Hmm.
We like aliens. We believe in aliens. Support the
It's kind of
aliens.
hard not to nowadays.
I mean, they only just like they just
Disclosed,
confirmed it. Yeah.
been going on for well, pretty much all summer now.
I mean, well,
Little, little
the hype
tidbits.
the hype really blew started with the Area 51 thing.
Hmm. Well, if we really want to go back, it really started with Roswell, but I mean, this stuff's been going on for 60 years now.
Yeah.
Plus,
I mean, and there's so many movie depictions too. Like one of my favorite like media aliens that I feel like is the most accurate is the architects from Prometheus. I
yeah.
feel like that's probably the most accurate representation of aliens, probably. Maybe not. Maybe it's exactly what we think they are with the big bulby heads and big black eyes. I don't know. Do you have any encounters with aliens?
It's funny because I thought you were going to ask me this yesterday when I was thinking of stuff to ask on the podcast. Uh, I think I've seen some like UFOs, but nowhere near enough to confirm. Too
Yeah.
far away, and always during the day, so you could easily be plane,
Well, they have an
easily
area.
dismissed.
They have an area where, not too far from where I grew up. It's like on the I don't know if that's like West New York or if that's like I don't know if that's like North Bergen, but that West New York, there's a building there, a big building. It looks like a stack of like CD discs stacked up on top of each other. And since
Cool.
I was a kid, they've always talked about like extraterrestrial encounters in that specific area for some odd reason, and no one understood why. Even comedian Joey Diaz has talked about it plenty of times too.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as it, I don't. I mean, how would I know? If I'm looking up in the sky, how would I
You
know?
don't.
They're shooting stars. You could, weird lights in the sky. You could represent that as anything. But even there was that body cam footage recently that came out with the police officer, and the phone call was like a tall 8 foot man or something like that with like long arms, and the police officer was actually like helping these people and like he was believing them. It was quite interesting.
I know there's been a lot of video lately. I want to say the last one that I saw was like out in Arizona or something when a bunch of people, like there's a meteor shower or something, and then people started phoning in the police departments seeing that they saw aliens in their backyards. You hear about that?
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking. That was the one that was just
Oh,
recently,
okay.
right? Yeah, yeah. And the,
Okay.
and the
Yeah.
cop came in
Yep.
and he was like, helping them out and stuff. But
Yeah,
you know,
it's starting to change. The tide's starting to change. You're not like sitting there with a hiding their grin, trying to not to laugh at you. Yeah, it's being
yeah.
taken serious
And
finally.
and in the world that we live today, is alien a derogatory word for extraterrestrials? Let's think about that for a second. If they actually do come, are they going to be offended that we call them aliens, or would they rather be called ETs? You know?
See, I've been watching this disclosure stuff enough now too. It's they're not so much otherworldly as they are more interdimensional.
Yeah.
And by being interdimensional, they can be outer space or interplanetary.
Do you think
But
that
it's usually more, yeah.
do you think that aliens have the secret to a perfect AI, a safe AI?
I'm sure they've gone through it. They probably perfected it. Yeah,
I do have some
I would
news.
almost say they might have perfected it in a way that it's more of a still of a hive mind where the people that made it are still involved
Yeah.
and it didn't get out of hand per se. Somehow they mastered subroutines and updates,
Yeah,
perfect
interesting.
updates to where you never have to update it ever again. It's well, AI it should be able to update itself.
Yeah. Well, I have a
You know,
couple of like examples of aliens too. They've been a part of human imagination and folklore for centuries, but the concept of beings from other planets or celestial realms has appeared in various cultures throughout history as well. But even though there's, as of right now, there is concrete evidence of non-human biologics, the idea of the extraterrestrial life has captivated human minds and influenced various aspects of culture and science. And one of these cultural examples are ancient mythology, where stories of these celestial beings and encounters with entities from the heavens can be tracked back to ancient
Sky gods.
civilizations. Yep, sky gods. From the Sumerian tales of the Anunnaki to the ancient Indian epics, uh, like the, excuse me if I butcher this, the Mahabharata.
That sounds
References,
about right.
yeah, references to beings from other realms have been woven into the mythology. Yet in medieval art and literature, the idea of celestial beings was depicted in art, literature, and religious texts, but angels and celestial creatures were often portrayed as visitors from higher planes of existence, which
It's
in a galactic sense, I mean, I, are we that far from realizing that that's really what it is, just a different plane of existence? Because the
mhm.
galaxy is, when a star erupts, anything can happen. New life
We're
forms, new
becoming more aware. It's
planets.
about vibration and light and sound and stuff like
Yep,
that. That's what's more involved with it.
yep. In the
Um,
19th century, it witnessed a surge in interest in the possibility of life on other planets. So, for example, like H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds and the discovery of Mars polar ice caps fueled speculation about life on the red planet. And it's no secret, if you're looking at everything with the red planet, one of the biggest theories out there is that the planet used to be a thriving planet and it had its end of days, and that's why it looks the way it looks right now.
yep.
Then,
There's a few theories floating around for that.
yep, and then obviously in 1947, the infamous Roswell incident brought the concept of aliens into mainstream consciousness. Alleged sightings of unidentified flying objects, UFOs, or unidentified aerial projections. I forgot what it is, UAPs, and reports of crashed
Yeah.
spacecraft sparked public interest in the subject. And then we're getting into more of like the science fiction and pop culture stuff of it. Like in the mid 20th century, saw a boom in science fiction literature and movies featuring extraterrestrial life. So there's like iconic films like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T. Those movies, it captured the public's imagination and popularized the idea of friendly aliens.
Good point. Friendly aliens,
Friendly aliens, and then we
not just
have,
your 50s communist run.
yep, then we have the SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. So in the 1960s, the scientific community began actively searching for signs of intelligent life in the universe through programs like SETI. Radio telescopes and other technologies are used to scan the skies for potential signals from alien civilizations.
Have you ever used SETI?
No.
There's a program you can use that you actually are a part of the SETI program, and you can. I think you're basically downloading or arranging data for them. And over the years, I've gone back to that app and periodically checked it out. It's kind of neat.
Interesting.
That goes all the way back to the '90s because one of my first laptops, that was one of the first apps I learned about.
Mm. So yeah, since the 40s, there's been numerous UFO sightings and encounters that have been reported worldwide, with some claiming to have had direct contact with extraterrestrial beings, while many cases are likely explainable by natural or human-made phenomena. The phenomenon continues to spark interest and debate, but today, aliens they remain a staple in our popular media. The portrayal of aliens ranges from benevolent and curious beings to malevolent invaders. But while the existence of extraterrestrial life is still a subject of scientific investigation and speculation, the concept of aliens continues to inspire the human imagination, encouraging guys like us to ponder the mysteries of the universe and our place in it, and where we belong. Now, one of my
Where we
I remember listening to the story of a woman who claims to have been abducted by aliens, right?
Okay.
and like they sent her back. Like she was supposed to go back for like a second date, and they never came back for her. She had like bruises all over her body. It was
Had
one of
enough
the
of her.
it was yeah, it was one of the weirdest stories I've ever read in my life. But it was quite interesting because you don't realize, maybe some of these experiences are real. Like the woman who was just on that plane screaming out,
Yeah,
that man is not
that man
real.
is not real.
And then, a couple days later, we had the UAP hearing. There's a lot of interesting stuff
Ongoing.
coming on, you know. So let's get into it.
Oh, well, yeah, let's show them some pictures regarding this stuff. Ah,
Talk to me
so
about
this will go
this one.
back in time. This would probably be one of the earlier documented UAPs now, because we're not calling them UFOs anymore. But this is called the Die Glock. This is
Okay.
a machine that the Germans used back in the 40s, or it was a project, and say they use it. Maybe they did. Um,
We never know. There was a lot of secrets.
yeah, the Glock is basically translated the bell. It was considered one of their wonder weapons or Wunderwaffe. Uh,
Mm.
God, that's got to be one of the first ones that I ever learned reading about. Remember getting out of the army, or it was either after the army or right before the army. I was given a book about. Oh, he's a very famous man, but that's basically one of the pictures, and it was Die Glock.
Yeah.
And
Actually,
this is not too far from what it might actually have looked like from the actual blueprints that they've shown online. It's
mm,
not too far off.
I just started learning recently how in that time that group were messing around with everything. Time
Yeah.
travel, space travel, quantum mechanics, you name it, they wanted to learn about it. And what's so interesting about that is it's almost like they knew something.
They
They
followed a lot of that Vedic it was, I don't know if it was religion necessary. I hear the word Vedic a lot when they were talking about this stuff. So
yeah,
you have like the SS groups that were into like ritualistic. They said they saw other entities, and this is kind of where this bleeds down into is their technology of that they've were able to harness. And there's a lot of technology that's been hidden or forgotten over the generations, but from us too.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's it's crazy how much stuff that we're realizing that our grandparents and their parents and their great grandparents
And what
were
they
going
experienced too.
through it. Yeah, what they experienced and stuff.
All right, so that's you ready for the next one?
Sure.
So I wanted to do something different. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of the aliens coming to us, I wanted an Earth astronaut crashing into another planet. We have, as of today, we have about 26 days until Starfield comes out. And I
Thank you
had,
for reminding me.
yeah. So I spent a lot of money on it. Just saying. And I have this like notion in my head on what would they do? How would
Mm.
they feel if, because we always see, we have Prometheus where they find the architects frozen solid there,
Mm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
then we also have like movies like The Day the Earth Stood Still, when we have one alien coming to us and us trying to figure out how we would handle it and our reaction towards it. But what if it
Yep.
was the other way around? If an earthly being came down, I think it's something. I think that's something to talk
I've had some weird theories in my head the last couple of days researching all this stuff, and not just I'm BSing myself when I say last couple of days when I should say pretty much my whole adult life. is just checking stuff out like this.
Yeah. Uh,
And that's the wonderful thing about it. There's so many possibilities. Yeah, we could go to another planet and we could be, the aliens, not the other way around where they come and visit us.
yeah. How do they react to that? Do they feel that it's going to be an invasion? So I think that's an interesting aspect to touch upon. And, maybe Avatar, the movie has some insight on that, but I think we can go into a more emotional field with this.
I think a lot of sci-fi movies have a snail or a sliver of truth to them because over the years, especially growing up in the 80s, I've seen a lot of this stuff actually kind of come to life in a way. Uh, One great example, that movie, the movie Total Recall, where they're able to superimpose Arnold Schwarzenegger's face over like a green screen person.
Yeah.
He's not really fighting Jesse Ventura. He's gotten away. He's going to live, but they're not going to let him get away with it. So they basically stage his death.
Yes.
And here we are with this deep fake stuff nowadays. So me seeing this, it's like it's new for a lot of people, but for me growing up, a lot of this stuff that we're seeing now, I'm kind of like, well, I've seen a something like that. I've heard something like that. So it's not totally off the wall to me. I'm pretty open minded about it now. I'm just like, yeah, I knew that. Kinda, kinda. I was saying, I knew it. I was Nostradamus. No, I've just heard or seen things similar.
Yeah. Yeah. And our next one.
I think it's how they slowly prepare us.
Yeah.
But I think 60 years is long enough.
I
So
agree.
this is actually, yeah, 60 is plenty. This was actually, I was looking up on Google any kind of actual blueprints of UFOs that were actually documented and unclassified, and I only found one, and it's pretty close to the rendition that Midjourney did here for me. I almost want to remember what I wrote down for the prompt on this one because this was one of the first ones I did. And of course, I'm going to pop it up in. Okay. Yeah, so I made the point to type in unclassified document of UFO schematic, and I wanted to stay true to the design as close as possible. So I actually threw that in as a prompt also. And just some of the terminology I've heard going on with the disclosure project, 0 point energy's been used a lot.
Yep.
You'll probably hear that more and more as the next 10 years goes on. And then just blueprint image. That turned out pretty good. I guess I did not put the new AR 16-9 in there, but it still turned out all right. Or maybe it's just not showing up as I did that. But I pretty much did that with all pictures now.
I like it. I really, and as you should, you get so much more in a photo when you do the aspect ratio.
Yeah. And you remember when we were first just starting out on our mid journey, that was version 1, and we're up to 5 now, correct?
Five. We are up to version 5 of Mid Journey now. It's getting
And I
better and
was just
better.
comparing these ones. Yeah, it's because that was version 1 that I did the early like alien blueprints, and this is just streamlined,
Yep. My next one
beautiful.
is so with everything going on with Congress and all these UAP hearings and all this stuff. What if we finally get make contact? What if we
You mean
finally
we? You
you
mean the public?
what if yeah, what if there is finally contact and we have so what I have here, I tried my best to make him handsome.
Oh, he's not a bad looking dude.
Yeah, I tried my best. I really did. But
Oh,
what I
looks good.
what I wanted to embrace here was an ambassador. I wanted a captivating moment in interstellar diplomacy. I wanted to have like a scene in Congress. A distinguished humanoid alien stands before the representatives of Earth, radiating an aura of charm and sophistication that is unmistakably positive. He possesses human-like features, seemingly blending in with the gathered crowd, but he is tall and lean figure, and he exudes confidence and grace, while his strikingly chiseled face captures the attention of all who behold him.
It would be great if like that happened where one came out as an ambassador and we could get over the staring and all that rather soon after doing that. 'Cause I think that would,
Yeah, I also wanted
I
to
don't know.
portray a facial feature showing a desperation of his homeworld dying and
Mm,
them looking for a home to sustain, and them pretty much saying like Earth is the best planet in the galaxy. We always hear how Earth is the most troubled, the most complicated planet, but we never hear Earth being the best planet, and that's what I wanted to portray here. And
mm,
I wanted his emotion to show that they seriously do need help, and
yeah.
they could bring in brand new technology. They could bring in things that we have been trying to find for the last couple hundred centuries, and they have it.
Yeah, there's a lot of that talk of the last 100 years has kind of been lost as far as tech because it's just been sitting in warehouses and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there was even a time where people forgot to make iron. You know, that I think was like a good couple hundred years.
Yep.
And the next, I'm getting
So,
I'm getting Hindenburg vibes.
ooh, I didn't think of that, but that's a good one.
Yeah.
Like the Zeppelins.
Yep.
So, video that I'm sure a lot of people have seen, it's been on regular news when they were talking about UFO slash UAPs, was the Tic Tac video, where you can hear the pilots talking about this thing flying against the wind, the jet stream,
Oh yeah,
and the
moving in
maneuverability.
moving in insane speeds. Yep.
Yep. So I wanted to try to actually do a video shot of the video and have it Midjourney do that. Well, Midjourney likes to do its own thing sometimes, but I was impressed with what it did because it kind of shows uh, the variation of a tic tac. Because from what I've been listening in the Disclosure Project, there are now man-made UFOs and non-biological UFOs. That's right, I said that. Man-made UFOs and non-biological UFOs. And the difference being with uh, man-made ones is there's usually stuff kind of jutting out of them, wires, rods, cables. So that's something to look
Interesting.
for if you ever. Yep. And then your non-biologicals are seamless, smooth. They don't look as uh, man-made, I guess. They're more seamless, streamlined,
Yeah,
no jutting.
more organized and activated.
Yep. And no sound. No
Interesting.
sound. I forgot
No
about that
sound.
too.
Well,
No sound.
it's like they always depict in the movies and the games that weird like sound that they do. The
Like a guitar amp.
yeah, it's like a guitar amp
Yeah.
mixed with like a boat horn.
Ooh. Yeah.
Very weird stuff.
Interesting.
What we have here is the arrival of the extraterrestrials coming into the docks of Earth.
Big
My
gas ship.
I keep thinking cinematic. I keep thinking historical moments in time that could depict what it could possibly look like if we did accept them. You know, if we did bring them in and said, "Hey, you can stay here. We have a little bit of room left, just a little bit," and then they come with the whole fleet.
I've often thought where would they actually show up and be ambassadors first? I always get the feeling South America. They've just been more open about it. It's in their culture.
I
It's
feel
been in their
like
culture
if they could find a
throughout the
way to
centuries.
contain the oceans from natural disasters, they can have the oceans.
Well, they kind of do already. But shh,
Yeah,
shh, shh.
yeah, yeah. That's a whole nother podcast. But yeah, I wanted, so I didn't want to have like your typical. I wanted to have the shape of a saucer, but I also wanted it to be massive, like a transport ship, a civilian transport ship that you would see like in For All Mankind or uh,
Mm,
Battlestar Galactica or even Star Trek or Star Wars. You know, these big ships, these big travel ships that these people could live in for a period of time.
freighter.
A freighter, exactly. And with this freighter, I mean, you have it landed right on the ocean, and you see everyone else just sitting there with open arms, allowing them to come in. And I think that this scene sets a beautiful tone for what there for what can possibly be.
I think it's only a matter of time now.
A matter of time.
Only a matter of time. So, uh, again, with some different cultures, the Indians in their religion actually had schematics of ships. Um, these ships were called Vimana. They were mythological flying palaces or chariots that were actually described in Hindu text and Sanskrit epics. The oh boy, here I go with a slaughtering of a word. Pushpaka Vimana of Ravana, who took it from Kubera. Ramana returned it to Kubera, is the most quoted example of Vimana. Vimanas are also mentioned in Jain texts, but I don't know what Jain texts are. The other ones I've heard of. But that was another UFO that I knew of, Vimanas, and then your Diglocks. So
And
that's basically what I wanted to do for my
it
pictures was
it
show
goes
well
back
known.
and talks about the cultural
Oh yeah,
histories of the aliens too before it became mainstream, a mainstream idea.
documented for thousands of years.
I mean, if I correct me if I'm wrong, I'm almost certain there were hieroglyphics that were found depicting sky people coming in and giving knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
giving giving gifts for a better human life.
See, there's a lot of disinformation out there, but what you got, I kind of, the advice I would give to anyone is like, you got to take the collective of everything. And the most simplest outcome is basically it is that they've just come here to help every time.
Yeah,
In the old stories, they've come to help. Never, never a bad thing. Always they've come to help. They've come to help. So that's kind of the driving uh, theme or subject, especially when you get with these old cultures like the Indians or the Mayans. Uh, it's just been in their culture for so long. It's carried down even to generations nowadays. And not every culture has the fortunate uh, that kind of knowledge passed down.
I love it. All right, so here comes. This is. I know I say this all the time, but this has to be the best render I've ever done.
Okay, I'm going to hold you up to that one. Oh my God. Oh
I
my universe.
Yeah, so this is a star map, and
Dig it.
I thought of the star map. Well, first off, I have a whole thing on this. So I wanted this to sprawl across a grand canvas featuring stunning tapestry of stars, galaxy, and nebulae, each meticulously illustrated, hand illustrated to showcase unique characteristics. The celestial bodies seem to dance across the map if you look at it as if it's whispering the secrets of the universe to those who dare to explore.
You do this morning?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw your other ones. You definitely hit or did this one under my sights. I love this.
Yeah.
I want this.
I also wanted
I'll
like
buy it.
handwritten markings to adorn the map, which each note representing a treasure trove of information about the stars and the planets. Inked annotations, a labor of love from the cartographer, reveal fascinating details about each cosmic
Wow.
wonder. You know, the names, the spectral classes, key features, inviting the observer to delve deeper into celestial realms. As you can see, there's clusters of stars that twinkle like distant beacons, forming intricate patterns that have guided countless travelers throughout history. And the map weaves together the stories of ancient constellations and modern astronomical discoveries, forging a bridge between the wisdom of the past and the cutting edge knowledge of today. And my big idea was we don't have enough of knowledge. We got the James Webb telescope giving us all these new answers about the galaxy that we never even realized how we are just a peon of energy
A
in a vast,
grain of sand.
yeah, you know. And I wanted to show that here in this. I wanted to show how big our galaxy is. I wanted to show these different planes of existence. uh what is out there. It's no secret. We know that there are planets out there that seem like they could sustain life.
Mhm.
And they're far. We're not talking about anything in our solar system. You know,
No.
I forgot the name of it. If it, let me look this up.
No. I've heard Planet X. Oh, you're talking about Kepler? Kepler?
I think
I think that might
so.
have been one of them. But there's a long number after Kepler. Net or Kepler 31 something blah 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 blah.
Kepler 22b.
Huh, cool.
Yep, these are exoplanets, and I mean, I it will never happen in our lifetime, but it would just be so cool to just be able to just travel through the galaxy and just see what's out there. It's so I know
It'd be
this.
cool just to get the engine rolling, you know,
Yeah, I
just
mean,
to get
I
it
know this
going.
episode was about aliens, and I'm ending it with a star map. But aliens are the galaxy. We are aliens to people in an unknown world. To other people. I mean, I always think about the planet Krypton, right, from the Superman lore,
Mhm,
and I always think about how that planet it could be happening somewhere else. It could be happening. There could be a planet erupting right now, a star bursting, and
mhm.
I it's just so beautiful to think. It's so beautiful to think that there is more out there that we don't know and we'll never know. We will never have all the answers to the universe, including
See,
aliens.
we may have the privilege still of having our imaginations for us, whereas in the future, when these things are more of these things are actually cemented in truth, and no more lies, then be no more mystery or stuff like that. So it's a give and take, I guess. I
Yeah,
would love to see that stuff, but it's also cool to imagine just the possibilities as well.
you're right.
And that's the final thought on this week's Jerry Springer.
Well, guys, thank you so much for coming. This was actually super exciting to talk about. We still wonder, and it's okay to wonder. And to steal from the X Files, the truth is out there.
Keep your eyes on the skies.